Cody Glass has been traded, and we pretty much hate everything right now. We'll work through the feels and talk about the facts on today's Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast, and thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We want to kick off this somber episode with a shout out to our Locked On Pred heads. Those are our everyday listeners who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us, even when the news is terrible. We appreciate your support, and we'd love spending a little bit of your day with you. I am Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer with Penalty Box Radio, and my friends, I have a partner in crime.
You do. I'm Emma Lingen, and I'm the Predators site editor and reporter for the Hockey News.
Basically, we hate everything right now, but we're going to get through this episode. We all knew it was coming. We knew the Predators were going to have to make a subtraction to the roster before the season started, and that move was made yesterday as Cody Glass was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're going to talk about the deal, the decision, and what this means for the Nashville Predators and Cody Glass next season. Before we dive into all of that, want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, Emma. Yeah, we knew. Yeah, we've talked about it. But the reality has hit. And I'm just curious, what was your initial reaction to the news that Cody Glass has been traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Gutted, but not surprised, I would say. I think in a way, I obviously it's sad. I think like you said, we knew it was coming, and it's not like the fact that it was Glass was a big surprise. It just kind of makes sense. I get it. Like I am sad because Cody Glass is truly as good and genuine as a person as you will ever meet in the game of hockey or in life.
Sports. Yep.
He is such a great person and, really genuinely going to miss seeing him every day. But I think when you look at it, it's, again, it was the reality that we didn't want to be the reality, which is that it just made the most sense to, when the team had to make a subtraction, it had to be Cody Glass. And I think that, unfortunately, Cody's been a victim of circumstance a few times in his career. He obviously was a first round pick. He was the first ever pick in Vegas Golden Knights history at number 6. But then that team quickly entered. I mean, we saw when Vegas went to the Stanley Cup final, their first year of existence, it was, that team quickly entered win now mode. And where Cody was between his development and injury troubles and whatever, he didn't fit their timeline. And so they had to cut bait with him pretty early and say like, well, we need to win now and you're not going to help us do that. So that's how he ended up in Nashville. And Nashville, at the time that he arrived, was a better situation for him. The team wasn't necessarily in win now mode, but they were, it seemed like he would kind of fit the timeline to help them be competitive. Then, of course, first season with the Predators organization, he spends most of the season in Milwaukee, has a fantastic season in Milwaukee, then comes up for the playoffs, doesn't really do much but to be fair, no one really did much in those playoffs. And, now, like we've talked about before, this team is all of a sudden in win now mode. They're where Vegas was when they got rid of Cody Glass. And it's just unfortunate. I think you just don't really have the patience or the time to be patient with him to kind of reach his full potential. And you want to do what's best for the player too. And I think as much as we hate to admit it, Nashville was not going to be the best situation for him moving forward. So I hope I truly, from other players that I've spoken to and just people around the game, people speak. I know Predators fans, plug your ears because I'm sure you don't want to hear this, but guys love playing for Pittsburgh. It's a fantastic
They do.
situation. So I love that for him, and I hope that I truly wish the best for him there.
Yeah. I love your assessment about the circumstances under which Cody Glass has moved before. But yet there is a part of me that just wants to yell, this is a 6th overall pick. For the love of all that's holy. If you're pushing for a cup, he might be a guy who could help you. But the seasons have not gone in a way that have allowed Cody Glass to really show that yet. And I think that's an important word in that sentence, is yet. And I do feel like he is, in this case, a victim of circumstance as far as the cap situation that the Predators are in. But like you said, so much about Nashville changed on a dime. It changed on that opening day of free agency. And when you so drastically change the window for winning, really hard decisions have to be made. And we talked about that earlier in the week about Juuso Parssinen, about Phil Tomasino. When you are in win now, win in the next 2 to 3 seasons mode, you don't have time for a guy to quote unquote find his game. And gosh, I hate to see that, because I do think in the right circumstance, Cody Glass could be a piece that could help a team be a serious contender. Circumstances just haven't been that for him in 2 different places. And I am with you. Just personal, as a person, you could not ask for someone better to interact with as media, for somebody to sit down and just be authentic and genuine. Truly, one of the best people I've ever met in sports is Cody Glass. And so I hate it. But there are factors that when I put the heart aside and go with my head, you see that this train was kind of coming down the track. And as much as, I kind of want to be like, let's go get pitchforks and stand outside of Bridgestone Arena. This is the stuff that Barry Trotz has to do because of what he's already done. And look, this blows, y'all. But it is what it is. And it is what it is for a reason. And like you said, I do think that this could be a mutually beneficial move, but we don't have to like it today.
Yeah. Today is not the day for, the silver linings, although, I do think that it would be pretty cool to play alongside a living legend like Sidney Crosby and learn from him. But again, today is not the day for that, and we won't get into that. But
no,
it's
today is the day we eat our big feelings, y'all.
That's right.
Tommy Novak, pass the ice cream. Because we did this. In a minute, we're going to talk about the specifics of the deal that sent Cody Glass to Pittsburgh. We're going to talk about how we feel about that deal, what it says about Cody Glass, and what it doesn't say. We're also going to hear from Cody Glass. We're going to hear his comments from the end of the season as well. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. If you are looking to make some of those end of the summer memories, or if you want to plan ahead for a great fall event, you have got to check out Game Time. With killer last minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Look, the Titans have some preseason games coming up. Of course, the Professional Bull Riders Association is going to be in town this weekend as well, and you can find great deals on tickets to both of those at Game Time. Game Time is also an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball as well. But it isn't just sports on Game Time. They also offer great deals on comedy, concerts, theater, and more. I love Game Time's all-in pricing, so you are never surprised by excess fees at checkout, and you can even get a view from your seat so you know exactly what you're buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Emma, we are working through, it's not a eulogy, but it feels a little bit like one. Cody Glass traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Personally, could you have stabbed me through the heart more, Barry Trotz? I'm not sure, but here we are. In the deal, here are the details of the deal. Nashville gets Jordan Frasca. Pittsburgh gets Cody Glass, a 2025 third round pick, and a 2026 sixth round pick. Now, on paper, this does not look great. Jordan Frasca, he is an undrafted free agent. He signed in Pittsburgh in March of 2022. He played 3 games in the AHL for Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Scored no points. He played 40 games in the ECHL, had 33 points in Wheeling. This is probably not, and I say this with all due respect, this is probably not going to be an NHL caliber player that Nashville Predators fans are going to see in gold. And again, the Predators gave up 2 draft picks. When I first read the deal, I was like, oh, we're getting a couple more draft picks. Oh, no, friends. We gave those away. Now, remembering Nashville has a slew of draft capital as well. So it's not like Nashville is bankrupting, their draft capital here doing this. But overall, when you look at the specifics of this deal, Emma, kind of what is your takeaway from it?
Yeah, I think like you said, if you look at it on paper in a vacuum and you don't have context, it looks like a textbook salary dump trade. It looks like a team has some dead weight on their roster that they need to get rid of, and they need to sweeten the deal with a couple draft picks. Now, we don't exist in a vacuum, and this trade did not happen in a vacuum. So while, yes, I don't love the optics of it, I don't love that it looks salary dumpy, because I think that makes Cody Glass, that paints him in an unfair picture, just as what value he could bring to a roster. I think that it's important to remember, like you said, the Predators have a ton of draft picks next year, the next couple years. So while for a lot of teams giving up 2 picks would seem like a lot, for the Predators it's really not that much. And I think that what they get in return, they get a depth forward in Milwaukee, which I think, we love depth. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't know that, like you said, I don't know that it's going to be an NHL caliber player. But I think that I can't really. You have to look at when you look at the trade. There's the trade on paper, but then you look at, okay, beyond the actual terms of the deal, what else does Nashville get out of it? They get salary cap space,
$2.5 million.
So I would expect now that those deals for those RFAs are going to start getting announced. If I were a betting woman, which I am not, because of my aforementioned high functioning anxiety and dislike of being wrong, I would bet that Juuso Parssinen is probably going to be the first deal that gets announced. And then you've also got Tomasino, you've got Mark Del Gaizo. Those were the guys that, were going to be receiving, or they did receive qualifying offers, but couldn't announce new deals because there was no space to sign them. And so now you're going to have that. It's unfortunate. But again, like you said, going out and, Barry Trotz had to go out and do something tough, make some tough decisions after he made some really good decisions to bring in guys like Stamkos and Marchessault, et cetera, et cetera. And I really do think that Cody Glass, again, the optics of the deal, I try not to get too hung up on them because it makes him look like he's not going to be a contributor for the Penguins. I think if he can stay healthy and he can find some consistency, I really just think that he, like I said, has been a victim of circumstance. Unfortunately, it's now happened to him twice in his NHL career. And so it says more about the team and like the situation he's been in than the type of player that he is. So it sucks a little bit to see that, we had to give up him and 2 draft picks. But again, 2 draft picks for Nashville right now is a drop in the bucket.
Right.
This is one that if I did not know the details of the situation, I would just read the terms of that deal and be like, oh, salary dump.
Right. And it's not, even though it looks like on paper, it is not a value statement of Cody Glass's abilities. It is a statement about where the Nashville Predators are and where they want to be in a relatively short period of time. Like you said, we loved Barry Trotz's decisions early in the offseason, but this is where the really hard decisions have to come in to bring to fruition the hope that we all got when he signed all of these free agents. And this is the hard part. And it is hard. Look, again, we just keep coming back to it's Cody Glass. You talked about, this was kind of a tough season for him, and it really was. And it was a tough season to cover. Played just 41 games in the regular season, 6 goals, 13 points. 3 of those goals came against Colorado, where he had a hat trick, which was amazing. Cody Glass did not play at all in the offseason. And so I don't think that you have to be Scooby-Doo and driving the mystery machine to kind of put together that maybe there wasn't going to be a spot going forward or a guaranteed spot going forward. And Andrew Burnett was very honest. He told Cody Glass, you got to make the team. Like, this isn't even about you getting playing time. This is about you come back next season and you got to make the team. And at Locker Room Cleanout, Cody Glass talked a little bit about the up and down of last season, dealing with injuries and kind of trying to get his groove back. This is what he had to say.
That was tough. But, I'm grateful for it. It's a learning experience. But I think going into next year, I'm at that age. I'm at 25. This is, going to be the peak of my career. So it's going to be a very hectic summer with training and then getting married and stuff like that. So it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. This is why we play, for, the pressure coming on you. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. The last 12 games, I'll say I helped produce a little bit. But before that, I was, I don't want to swear, but I was rough. But I was, going through my meetings, I was sick to my stomach that I couldn't play, and it's my own doing, and it's tough, and it's something I don't want to have to talk about. And I wish I could be standing here proud and saying I did everything I could, but like I said, I'm going to make sure that this never happens again, and it's going to be a big summer because I have 1 year left on my deal, and this is very important to me, and hockey's been my life for so long, and this is what I want to do, and I want to have fun doing it.
It's just so hard to watch. You and I had a conversation before we recorded, and we had talked earlier about the optics of the deal. And I debated even bringing this up because I want to preface everything I'm about to say with this is not what happened. Something may look one way, but it is really another. But one of the things that I hate about this move is the optics of it, in the sense that Cody Glass obviously dealt with injury last season, but he also was very open and very authentic about the fact that when you deal with a physical injury, there is a mental component to that as well. Getting back out on the ice, getting your confidence, getting your trust in your body's ability to take the hits and the physicality of the game. And you have a player who is willing to be open and authentic about the mental challenges of the season that he had, and then a team moves away from him. And I just want to be clear that that is not what happened, I don't believe, with Cody Glass and the Nashville Predators. But I hate the look of it, Emma. I hate the optics of it.
Yeah, it's tough. But like you said, one thing isn't necessarily, like you said, optics aren't reality always.
For
and
sure.
One thing is not necessarily the result of another. And it's two unrelated things, unfortunately, that happened to coincide. And, it like you said, it's not an ideal situation, as far as how it looks, but I think, and we've talked about this before, for as young as he is so mature and
Very
so
wise.
very self-aware and very and unfortunately, I say unfortunately for him, he has been through a lot of things in his life that have kind of forced him to grow up really fast, and both personally, like outside of hockey and in hockey. And I think that he deals with a lot, and but on the same in the same vein, he's equipped to deal with that. Like he has the tools. He just needs to put it all together. And I truly do believe that he will do that, and that he can do that. And we said after listening to his all of his comments from the clip you played from his locker room cleanout interview, I remember leaving that day thinking like, wow, this is a man on a mission. Like he was angry. Like he was mad. He was not mad at anyone but himself. Like he knows he's better, and he knows that he can do more. And he's kind of a guy that, now it's not a one-to-one comparison. There are differences in the individual situations, but in this sense, I think that he is in a similar situation as Philip Tomasino, in that he was never, just with everything that he's gone through, he's never going to have a truly clean slate with Nashville.
I
And
feel like that. Yeah.
I think that that's what he needs more than anything, is a clean slate. As hard as it is, and you just kind of had to rip the Band-Aid off, honestly, because again, we're looking at, okay, they got to make a subtraction. Who's it going to be? All signs are pointing to Cody Glass. And we just didn't, we didn't want to say it, but we knew, like the writing's on the wall there because of everything that you mentioned. So I know that it's early. We don't want to look at silver linings, but I genuinely believe that as much as my heart and my selfishness wants to disagree, if I put that aside, I genuinely believe that this is the best thing for Cody Glass. Not for take the Predators out of it, salary cap out of it, whatever. If just, even if the Predators weren't in a salary cap crunch, to be quite honest with you, I still think that this would be the best move for this player to put him in a position to succeed. I know we don't all want to look at it that way right now, and I get it because I'm sad too, but I just think that that's reality.
I agree with you. I feel like the comments that Andrew Brunette made at the end of the season, kind of talking about Cody Glass needs to find his why, I sort of took a little bit of exception to them at the time, not because I felt like Andrew Brunette wasn't able to correctly assess Cody Glass, but because I felt like this seems a little more final of an assessment than what Cody Glass deserves at this point in his career with the talent that he has after the season that he had. And I agree with you. Cody Glass left locker room clean out a man on a mission. Like, be afraid, y'all, because Cody Glass was not coming back the same man he left. As a matter of fact, and Emma knows this because I have texted her pictures. I have a sticker. I have a little post-it where I work out that says work out as hard as Cody Glass this offseason. I don't.
Oh,
but it's a great motivation.
If that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what does. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I love
because
it.
I'm like, this is a driven person. He wants a different outcome, and you knew that he was putting in the time, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Pittsburgh is going to love this pick, and coming up, we're going to tell you why we think Cody Glass is going to be a great addition for Pittsburgh. We'll also have some parting thoughts for Cody Glass as well. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you are into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, Emma. So we've talked about Cody Glass leaving Nashville, but he is headed to Pittsburgh. And even though Pittsburgh Penguins sort of live in my invisible backpack of hockey grudges, I do have to say, for his sake, I do think that this could be a really interesting fit for Cody Glass. When you look at sort of where Pittsburgh is, what they're looking for, this is somebody who I really think could benefit the Penguins. You know, Pittsburgh is, of course, one of the older teams in the league. They have the second oldest roster right now going into next season. Nashville has the fourth oldest roster, but who's counting? But they also are really wanting to generate some more offense. They were 18th in the league last season in goals scored. Nashville was 10th. So Cody Glass brings a couple of things. First of all, he brings youth. We've talked about Sidney Crosby still playing there, but this is an older team, but you're bringing in a young player with a high-end talent who is a great playmaker. And if you get him in the right circumstance, and like you said, if you give him this fresh start, Cody Glass could really infuse something into Pittsburgh's offense that they are going to like a lot.
I agree. I would add one asterisk to that, though. I think my personal assessment is that Cody Glass should be moved to the wing permanently.
Interesting.
He was much more effective when he was moved to the wing in the brief playing time that he did have this past season. I do think, we've talked about, and he talked about, the mental struggles and pressure of coming back from injury. And, there's just a lot of other things on your mind. And the center is relied upon to drive the play and to drive the offense. And I think by moving him to the wing, it took a lot of that kind of decision-making pressure off of him and allowed him to just kind of play his game and not overthink it, not worry too much about it. And he was just able to play kind of free and loose. And I think that is going to be really good for him. At least when I say permanently, you know, I mean like in the immediate future. Like I
Right.
think that when he goes to Pittsburgh, I think that he's going to be in the best position to be successful if he is, you know, if he arrives there and is kind of viewed as a winger rather than a center. Now, it's great to have a guy like that who can play center if you need him to, but I think that to really kind of unlock his full potential of what he can bring, I think, you know, I that's personally what I would do, but I have to see.
I think that's a great thought. I think that's a great way to get him back in with a new team under a change with some confidence. And then maybe eventually there's a transition for him back to center. But I agree with you. I think that may be just a really ideal situation with the Penguins to get him some confidence back because, you know, the last season was a struggle. This move, hopefully Cody Glass will embrace it kind of the way that you and I are seeing it as, you know what, this is a fresh start for somebody who deserves it, who wasn't going to be in a position with Nashville to really take advantage of a fresh start and an opportunity to kind of grow into his game here again. Did ask some of our insiders when the news broke. We were kind of chatting back and forth with the insiders in our insiders program about the Cody Glass. We wanted to read some of their responses, Emma, because I thought they were really good. One insider said, I'm going to miss Cody. Yes, he had so much potential. He scored the overtime winner in the first Preds game I ever took my young kids to. I think he needed a change of scenery even more than Tomo. I wish him the best in Pittsburgh. First of all, what a sweet memory. And I agree, as much as I hate it, change of scenery may be medicinal. You know,
Yep.
it really may be.
Yeah.
Another insider said, showed some promise, but untimely injuries and inconsistent performances were his undoing in Nashville. I think he can be a serviceable 2 or 3C. But keeping Fabro over him was the right choice for a team that is in win now mode. Fabro was one of the other players that we really felt like could be in the mix for a move. Clearly, they decided to opt for Cody Glass. One other one said, I just hope Pittsburgh will give him the playing time he deserves. And I do think he will have a better opportunity in Pittsburgh, especially when it comes to things like playing time, than he would have here in Nashville. So I agree. Now, you and I both love Pittsburgh. I lived there for, I think I lived there like 3.5 years. One of my favorite cities truly anywhere. Pittsburgh is a great city.
It is truly an underrated city.
Love Pittsburgh. And for the most part, I love Pittsburgh people. Some of the Penguins fans are just okay for me, but love the city. So Emma, if you could give Cody Glass a piece of like practical Pittsburgh advice, what would you tell him?
I would say go to Eaton Park and get yourself a smiley cookie, because if anyone deserves a smiley cookie, it is Cody Glass, who is the human version of an Eaton Park smiley cookie.
Oh my gosh, he really is. If you all don't know what we're talking about, I'll try to find a picture of one and post it on social media. Life-changing. I would hate for you to think that an Eaton Park smiley cookie is anything less than life-changing. They're so good.
You can't not like be immediately in a better mood after eating an Eaton Park smiley cookie. So I think that Cody Glass needs one, but also he is the human version of one. So like it just fits.
Yeah. I mean, if Will Levis can do a mayonnaise perfume, I think Cody Glass should do an Eaton Park cookie perfume.
Yes.
Just
or just like
there.
Some kind of like a partnership with Eaton Park where it's like a Cody Glass smiley cookie where it just like has a number 8 on it or something. I don't know. Like,
have you ever seen the Eaton Park Christmas commercial where the Christmas tree, the star tries to jump up on top of the Christmas tree and it can't make it and it gets really sad and then the Christmas tree bends over and picks up the star?
No, but my heart.
It makes me cry every time. I'm like, oh my gosh, if anybody is that good. That goodness, Eaton Park, you need to talk to Cody Glass about a deal.
Yes.
I would tell him two things. Number one, you have to eat at Permane Brothers.
Yeah,
They're these
obviously.
amazing sandwiches that come with coleslaw and French fries on them, which sounds disgusting. And the first time I went, I ate a sandwich before I left because I didn't believe it would be good. It's amazing.
They're
And
so
also,
good.
they're so good. And then Quaker Steak and Lube wings are
Mhm.
amazing. So
Funny how our Pittsburgh advice is all food related.
look, Cody Glass, we are eating our feelings right now.
Go to Pamela's on the Strip. Get yourself a pancake. It's bigger than your face, and it's delicious.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So if you need to eat your feelings, Cody Glass, we've just given you some highlights. If you don't need to eat your feelings, we'll come visit you and we'll do it ourselves. So yeah, Cody Glass, now a Pittsburgh Penguin. We'd love to know what you think about this move by Barry Trotz of the Nashville Predators. You can tweet us your thoughts on this at LO_Predators. You can also chat with Emma and I about this post podcast if you want to join our Locked On Predators Insiders program via subtext. Information about that is in this video description. It's also in our show's bio as well. Before we sign off on this sad, sad day, Emma, will you let everyone know where they can find you and your work?
You can find me eating my feelings in Eaton Park Smiley Cookies if they existed in Tennessee. And you can find me on social media at Emma_Lingen, and you can find my work at the Hockey News.
And you can find me still going to be working out like I'm Cody Glass in the off season, only not really that hard because I'm not a professional athlete, y'all. Or you can find me on social media at @AnnK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio as well. That is going to do it for today's somber episode of the Locked On Predators podcast. We thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We will be back later this week with an all new episode. We'll see you then.